Hi, hey, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. I quickly just want to share what cameras I have in my film camera collection and how I use them, what I use them for. I feel like lately I've been asked more and more about film photography and cameras and how to use them and developing and scanning too. And so although I have no intention of my YouTube channel being strictly a film channel, I do talk about it quite often because I really enjoy it that much. Really quickly, let's just talk about the 4 cameras that I have and some accessories that I also use. First camera is the infamous Olympus Stylus Mu1. I adore this camera. I have made videos on this camera before, so you can check those out. Really quickly, it is a 35mm point and shoot camera, fully automatic. This is the camera that I recommend a lot of people purchase if they're just getting into film photography, just because it's so easy to use. At least for me, it's the camera that I use the most. It's the camera that I always have on a mantle at home, and it's the camera that I take the most photos with of my family, of our girls. Yeah, this is a camera that I'm never gonna get rid of. And it has a built-in flash, which I find is very, very useful because the rest of my cameras do not have a flash, and so it's pretty limiting how I can use them. But this camera has a flash, so it's fantastic. All right, next camera is the Canon QL17. This is the camera that I've owned the longest. It is another 35mm camera. It's a rangefinder, and so this is how you focus it. It's got a 40mm lens on it. Not my favorite focal length. It's not the best for portraits. It's also not the best for environmental documentary photos either. So it's almost like this kind of in-between focal length. Some people like it, some people don't like it. It's fine for the years I've owned it. I've had this camera for 5 years now, but I haven't really been getting into film photography until the past year. This is a camera that I have really enjoyed using. It's a camera that I don't really use anymore because I have replaced it with the camera that I'm gonna talk about next. It's got an internal light meter, which is great. The only thing I don't like is that it only works on shutter priority. You can hate that or love that. Great that it has an internal light meter. I don't like it that it's only operational with shutter priority, but that's a quirk about this camera. Great camera, it's very affordable, and I've gotten some good use and photos out of this camera too. All right, this is my newest camera pickup, and I made a very recent video about this camera, at least my first impressions of this camera, but this is a Leica M6. This is my all-around daily camera. So this is a camera that I'm really enjoying using as of late, and I've only had it for about a month and a half, but this is a 35mm rangefinder camera. So just like the Canonette, you're gonna focus it with this knob. Although I really do think it's a aesthetically pleasing and very beautiful camera, I really love the functionality of it and the user experience, and I think that's a lot of what justifies the price tag of cameras like this. I really enjoy this camera. I've been using it quite a bit. I've also paired it with a Clever Supply strap with the Peak Design anchors, which is also a blast. Yeah, I have it with a Voigtlander 28mm lens, and that's a focal length that I've really been enjoying using. It's great for documentary, photojournalism style photos. I'm finding that I'm using this a lot actually to document my personal life with my family as well. So this is a camera that I plan on using a ton more moving forward, and thus far have really enjoyed. All right. Last but not least, this is my Pentax 645N, arguably my most favorite camera. And I'm really liking this medium format, the 645 format. You get 16 frames out of a roll, which I think is fantastic because film is getting more expensive. And so to be able to squeeze out 16 for medium format is great for the way that I shoot. This is primarily used for portraits, and I will plan on using this camera more for environmental stuff, landscape stuff, and maybe someday open up a print store from the photos I've taken on this camera. It's also a great camera because it has autofocus, and I really love this camera's autofocus. It's spectacular, especially when there's good light. I've gotten some incredible portraits out of this camera, and this is also another camera that I have no intention of ever getting rid of. Really quickly, some accessories that I use. So I've got these 2 canisters for my film that I've already shot. So once I finish a roll, I'll roll them up and put them in here. This is for 120 and it can hold 8 rolls. And then this is my 35mm canister that can hold 6 to 7 rolls of 35mm. This is how I track what I've shot, and these are always just sitting on my desk, and as soon as I finish a roll, I place them into these canisters so that I know what's supposed to be developed. And then the last thing is this right here. It is a Sekonic light meter, and I got this Around the same time I got my Pentax, I'll be honest, I never use it. I used it a lot in the beginning when I was first trying to figure out film photography and how to expose. But one of the things I've really focused on with every camera purchase that I've made is getting cameras that have internal light meters. And so with the Leica M6 and the Pentax, their light meters, once you figure out how to use them, are incredible. And because of that, and the way that I shoot, very run and gun, very in the moment, I just find that when I'm not doing any like set up posed work where I have so much time to use a light meter, I really do trust the internal light meters in my cameras. And because of that, I just find that I don't really use it so much. I don't use it that much. Just kidding. The light meters right here. I would never throw that away. But it's great. I do think light meters are necessary if you don't have one in camera. That's really it. That's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to make a video on the film camera photography gear that I'm currently using and I have at my disposal. And there's wonderful cameras out there, and by no means are these the best cameras. I really think that with film photography especially, you want to get tools that you're really gonna enjoy using. You just wanna make sure that you really enjoy the camera that you've invested in. For anyone that is curious into getting into film photography, this is still my #1 recommendation, the Olympus Stylus Mu1. I think for the cost and the ability of the camera, it is unmatched, unbeatable. And it's fantastic because I think it's a great way for beginners or people new to film to really just kind of get great images with very minimal technical abilities. That's it. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for your support. And I'm still on my road to 1,000 subs. I think we're getting closer. If you enjoyed this video and the content that I've been producing, I would appreciate a sub to the channel, a like on this video, and I will see you guys next week for next week's video. And I will see you guys then. Thanks so much. Bye.